The sky changed in one quiet moment. At first, it looked like clouds were forming too fast. Thick, dark shapes appeared above the cities, above the oceans, above every country at the same time. People stopped walking.
Cars slowed down.
Birds fell silent. Then everyone understood. They were not clouds. They were ships. Huge ships. Bigger than mountains. Smooth and black, with glowing lines running across their surface like slow-moving rivers of light. They did not make sound. They did not fire weapons. They only stayed there, floating, blocking the sun. For a few minutes, the world froze. In New York, Emma Brooks stood in the middle of the street, holding her phone. The sky above her was no longer blue. It was covered by a massive shape that seemed endless. She felt her heart beat faster. Around her, people were screaming, crying, calling their families. In London, James Carter dropped his coffee. As he looked up, the cup shattered on the ground, but he did not notice. His eyes were fixed on the ship above the city. It was so large that it felt like the sky itself had become solid. In Tokyo, trains stopped. In Paris, people ran into buildings. In small villages, farmers fell to their knees, thinking the end of the world had arrived. Every screen on Earth showed the same image: the Galactic Fleet. At first, everyone expected destruction. Missiles were prepared. Fighter jets took off. Soldiers waited for orders. Hospitals filled with people who fainted from fear. Religious groups prayed. Others panicked. Some even tried to escape into the countryside, as if distance could save them from the sky. But nothing happened. No explosions. No attacks. No movement. The ships just stayed there. Hours passed. The sun slowly moved behind the massive structures, turning day into strange half-night. Yet the ships did not react. They did not follow planes. They did not chase rockets that were sent to test them. The rockets vanished before reaching the ships, as if stopped by invisible walls. Then the message came. Not through radio. Not through television. It appeared everywhere at once. On phones. On billboards. On computer screens. Even on the walls of buildings, glowing in soft white light. The message was short. We come in peace. Surrender your planet. Resistance is unnecessary. No threats. No countdown. Just that. World leaders gathered in emergency meetings. Military commanders argued. Scientists tried to understand the technology. News channels repeated the same words again and again. Surrender your planet. Many people cried. Some fainted. Others felt empty, like their emotions had shut down. But something strange began to happen. After the first wave of fear passed, humans started doing what they always did. They talked. Emma sat in her apartment, watching the message repeat on her phone. Her hands were shaking, but she noticed something odd. Her social media was not only filled with panic. There were jokes. Someone had posted a picture of the ship with the text, "Worst parking ever." Another wrote, "Aliens arrived and still didn't fix my internet." At first, Emma felt angry. How could people joke at a time like this? But then she laughed just a little. It slipped out before she could stop it. In a small town, Oliver Grant opened a shop like normal. People walked in, still scared, but buying bread, milk, and water. "What's the point?" someone asked him. "We might all be gone tomorrow." Oliver shrugged. "If today is my last day, I still want fresh bread." In another city, Lucas Reed was stuck in traffic. No one was moving because everyone was looking up at the sky. He rolled down his window and shouted, "Hey, if aliens are taking over, at least let me get home first." Someone nearby laughed. Then another. Slowly, small sounds returned to the world. Not screams. Not crying. Laughter. Not loud. Not happy. Just human. The news kept talking about surrender. Governments warned people to stay calm. But normal life did not fully stop. People still ate. Still slept. Still complained about work and school. Children were the first to stop being afraid. A little girl looked at the sky and said, "They look like big turtles." A boy asked, "Do you think they have cartoons?" In one hospital, a nurse named Emily joked with a patient, "At least now my student loans don't matter." The patient replied, "Yeah, aliens can pay them." They both laughed, even though their hands were shaking. The aliens waited. They watched Earth from their ships. They had expected chaos, riots,
Wars.
desperation. Instead, they saw people making tea, posting memes, feeding pets, going to work. Fear had come, but it did not stay. Humans were still scared, but they were also used to it. Used to disasters. Used to bad news. Used to living under big problems they could not control. So they did what they always did. They adapted. They joked. They kept going. And for the first time in the history of the Galactic Fleet, the invaders felt something new. Confusion. Days passed, but the sky did not change. The massive ships were still there. Silent.
Dark.
Hanging above the world like frozen storms. At first, people kept looking up every few minutes, waiting for something to happen. An attack. A new message.
A sign.
But nothing came. The world stayed strangely quiet. On the third day, Daniel Wright woke up late for work. For a moment, he forgot about the ships. Then he saw the shadow on his bedroom wall and remembered. He sighed, picked up his phone and checked the news. Same headline. Same message. No updates. He closed the app and went to make coffee. In the streets, traffic returned. Not heavy, but normal enough. People walked to offices, shops, and schools with tired faces. They still looked up sometimes, but not with panic anymore. More with curiosity. In a market near Daniel's office, the vegetable seller was arguing about prices like nothing had changed. Tomatoes are more expensive, the seller said. Aliens didn't make tomatoes expensive, the customer replied. That was you. They both laughed. Emma Parker sat in a cafe with her laptop open. Outside, the sky was still blocked by a giant ship. Inside, the barista was playing soft music. Emma was scrolling through social media. At first, she only saw fear posts. But now, most were jokes. One post showed the alien ship edited with sunglasses and the text, "Just here to chill." Another showed a cat looking up at the sky with a caption, "My owner brought a bigger pet." Emma smiled. Then she stopped and thought, why am I smiling? She should be terrified. Everyone should be. But instead, people were acting like the ships were just strange weather. In a school classroom, Oliver Reed stood in front of a group of children. The window behind him showed a huge dark shape in the sky. "Sir," one student asked, "are the aliens real?" Oliver nodded. "Yes." "Are they going to eat us?" Oliver paused, then said, "I don't think so." "Why not?" "Because if they wanted to, they already would have." The children thought about this for a moment. Then one of them raised his hand. "Can I draw them in art class?" Oliver smiled.
Yes.
"But make them friendly." At first, the governments were worried. They expected panic to return. But instead, people began planning again. Markets reopened fully. People bought clothes, phones, and even booked vacations. A woman said on the news, "If aliens destroy Earth, I don't want to die in my office." In one city, someone organized a small food festival under the shadow of the ship. A sign said, "End of the world sale." People came. They ate. They took selfies with the sky behind them. Daniel met Emma for lunch. They sat outside, even though the sun was blocked. "Do you feel scared?" Emma asked. Daniel thought for a moment. "Not really. More like annoyed." Annoyed. They showed up, scared everyone, and then did nothing. "It's rude." Emma laughed.
Yeah.
"At least send a better message." Above them, the ship remained silent. Scientists kept studying the fleet. They tried sending signals. Music.
Math.
Even jokes. No response. The aliens only watched. Inside the ships, the commanders were confused. Their data showed something impossible. Human fear levels were dropping. Productivity was rising. Entertainment activity was increasing. One alien officer said, "They should be begging." Another said, "They are posting images of us with hats." The alien leader stared at the screens showing humans dancing, shopping, laughing. "This is not surrender behavior," the leader said. On Earth, a new feeling spread. Not fear. Not anger.
Curiosity.
People wanted to know who the aliens were, what they looked like, what they wanted. A famous question started trending online. If they are so powerful, why are they so quiet? Emma posted a message. Maybe they are waiting for us to panic again. Someone replied, good luck with that. The world had learned something about itself.
Fear could arrive, but it did not stay.
Humans were not brave. They were just tired of being afraid. So they lived anyway. The meeting place was not in a palace or a military base. It was in a simple open field near the ocean. The alien ship slowly descended from the sky. For the first time since their arrival, one of the massive ships moved. The air vibrated, but there was no sound. The ground did not shake. The ship stopped a few meters above the earth, and a smooth ramp extended downward. The world watched in silence. Millions of cameras were pointed at the same place. A small human team stood waiting. No weapons. No armor.
Just people.
Emily Stone stood in the front. Her hands were calm, but her heart was beating fast. She had studied disasters her whole life.
Wars.
Earthquakes. Pandemics. Now she was about to meet something beyond Earth. Beside her stood Lucas Grant. He adjusted his glasses and looked at the ship. So, he said quietly, this is really happening. Emily nodded. Looks like it. The ramp touched the ground. Light filled the air. 3 alien figures stepped forward. They were tall and thin, with smooth silver skin and dark, glowing eyes. Their bodies seemed to move like liquid metal. They wore no clothes, only faint light patterns across their skin. The aliens stopped a few steps away. They expected screaming. They expected shaking voices. They expected humans to fall to their knees. But the humans just stood there. Emily took a step forward.
Hello, she said.
The alien envoys paused. One of them spoke. The voice came directly into their minds, clear and calm. You will address us with respect. Lucas blinked. We are being respectful. The alien looked at him. You show no fear. Lucas shrugged. We're nervous. That's different. Emily smiled slightly. We've been scared before. The alien envoy seemed confused. You face extinction. Fear should dominate your minds. Emily replied, fear visits us often. It doesn't stay long. Lucas stepped forward. We had wars that killed millions. Diseases we didn't understand. Natural disasters that destroyed cities overnight. Emily continued. We cried. We panicked. We learned. Then we rebuilt. The aliens exchanged silent signals. Their leader spoke again. You do not tremble before superior power. Lucas said, power doesn't mean control. Emily added, you asked us to surrender. But we don't even know you. The alien paused. We expected submission. Emily shook her head. We expect conversation. There was a long silence. Waves crashed softly in the distance. The alien leader finally asked, why are your people not begging? Lucas smiled. Because we're still trying to understand the problem. Emily said, we are not fearless. We just know fear doesn't solve anything. The alien's eyes dimmed slightly. You accept the possibility of destruction. Emily replied, we always have. Lucas added, every time we drive a car. Every time we build a plane. Every time we wake up. The alien leader looked at the human team again. Not as subjects, but as equals. This behavior is unexpected. Emily smiled. We get that a lot. The first meeting ended not with threats, but with silence and thought. The ships still filled the sky, but now they felt different. Not like threats, more like questions. Inside the largest ship, the alien commanders studied endless screens. Every city on Earth was visible. Every human reaction was measured. They expected fear to grow. It did not. They expected riots. There were none. They expected silence. Instead, Earth was loud with life. One commander watched a group of humans having a street concert under the shadow of a ship. They are celebrating, the commander said. Another replied, they should be preparing for collapse. The leader stared at a screen showing a wedding taking place in a park. They are forming bonds, the leader said slowly. Why? On Earth, Emily and Lucas watched the same sky from a quiet cafe. Do you think they're still trying to scare us?
Lucas asked.
Emily stirred her tea. Probably. They just don't understand we already lived with fear. Across the world, humans began doing something unexpected. They started offering help. Scientists sent open messages to the fleet, sharing language data, medical knowledge, even art and music. One message said, "If you're here peacefully, we can learn from each other." Another said, "We're curious about you. You can talk to us." The aliens did not know how to respond. Their entire history was built on one rule: power creates obedience. But humans were not obeying. They were adapting. A commander looked at emotional charts. Fear levels are stable but low. Then why are they still calm? The leader replied, because fear is not their main system. The commander hesitated. Then what is? The leader watched a screen showing children drawing alien ships with smiling faces. Hope, the leader said quietly. And habit. On Earth, Oliver Reed was teaching a class again. A student asked, "Sir, are aliens our enemies?" Oliver thought for a moment. Not yet. Friends. Not yet. Then what? Visitors. The word spread. Not invaders. Not gods. Visitors. In one city, people held a sign facing the sky. "Welcome, if you mean no harm." Another sign read, "If you're lost, Earth has good coffee." The alien commanders felt something unfamiliar. Not anger. Not pride.
Doubt.
Their greatest weapon, terror, was useless. Humans were still afraid, yes. But fear did not stop them. Fear did not define them. They had lived with it too long. And now, the fleet was no longer controlling the situation. They were part of it. The change began with silence. Not the quiet of waiting, but the quiet of decision. One morning, people noticed that one of the ships had moved. Slowly, almost gently, it rose higher into the sky. There was no alarm. No message. No warning. It just left. At first, people thought it was a trick. A test. But then another ship moved. And another. Across the world, dark shapes that had covered the sky for days began to pull back. The light returned to cities. Shadows disappeared from oceans and fields. Emma stood on her balcony and watched. "Are they going?" she whispered. Daniel was on a bus when he saw the sky turn blue again. The passengers fell silent. Someone pointed out the window. "They're leaving." No one cheered at first. No one screamed. They just watched. Inside the alien flagship, the commanders gathered for the final time. Their data was clear. Humans had not submitted. Humans had not collapsed. Humans had not changed in the way they were supposed to. The alien leader spoke slowly. "Our presence has failed to create control." One commander replied, "They do not respond to terror as expected." Another said, "They treat fear as background noise." The leader looked at the final report. Human emotional stability, high. Human social activity, increasing. Human surrender probability, near zero. "They cannot be ruled by threat," the leader said. "So we use force?" a commander asked. The leader shook its head. Force only works when fear comes first. With them, it does not stay. The fleet had conquered hundreds of worlds. Every time it was the same. Show power. Create fear. Receive obedience. Humans broke the pattern. Not by fighting. Not by winning. But by continuing. On Earth, Lucas and Emily stood near the ocean where the first meeting had happened. The sky was almost clear now. Only one ship remained, high above, slowly fading into the clouds. "So that's it," Lucas said. "No war. No ending speech." Emily smiled. "That's the most human ending possible." Lucas laughed softly. "We didn't even do anything." Emily replied, "We did. We stayed ourselves." Around the world, people began returning to full normal life. Planes flew again. Concerts were held. Children stopped drawing ships and went back to drawing superheroes. The invasion became a story, then a memory, then a joke. A few days later, the final alien message appeared. Not on every screen. Just one simple broadcast. Earth does not respond to fear. Further contact is unnecessary. That was all. No apology. No explanation. Just departure. Across the galaxy, the Galactic Fleet updated its rules. A new warning was added to their records. Avoid humans. They adapt too fast. They do not panic long enough. Fear is ineffective. On Earth, someone posted a final meme. A picture of the empty sky with the text. They came to scare us. We bored them instead. And humanity moved on. Not as heroes. Not as conquerors. Just as humans. Still afraid of many things. But never ruled by fear again.